Hello, dear Ayu. I hope that everyone is okay. I'm sending you this message and this video because I've been in a residential program in Chile, and now I'm flying to Peru for the Via Illuminata, and I'm not going to be able to join class at least until I think it's going to be then 26. The 26th, I'm going to be with you, 26th of April. But I want to send a lot of love. I've been missing you all. And I want to share this video because I met with Martha and the rest of the team, Namaste, Mona, and Lee. And I know that you are going to work with the journey of the masculine and the feminine. We used to work with these, and well, we always work with these two books, he and she, because these books portrays a little bit of the journey of the masculine embodied in Percival and the journey of the feminine embodied in Psyche. Now it's important to say and to reflect that the journey of the masculine as well as the journey of the feminine are not related with gender. Yeah, these are energies that live inside of us and that lives in the natural world. Actually, they are always present. They are always dancing together. It's the yin and the yang. I know that nowadays we have a lot of situations regarding gender, and the only thing that I want to bring for this class is the reflection that we are intertwined with these energies. We are masculine and feminine all the time, and these stories help us to see some of the challenges that the masculine energy or in the feminine energy needs to go through to mature and to grow. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of my understanding of the stories of Percival and Psyche, so you can have also these understandings in your own in your own self, that you can also reflect on them and see where these teachings and these stories apply into your life. So the first thing, we are going to start with Percival. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I'm going to go through the main points of the story. So here are my notes. If you see me looking, downwards, is because I'm just going through a few things that I think that are important to highlight. So Percival lives with his mother in the middle of the forest. And one day, as a young man, he saw three knights riding across the woods, and he feels such a rush and such a big emotion that he wants to go after them. So he goes to the mother and begs, "Please, mother, let me go." Of course, the mother accepts, but she asks him three things. Don't ask any questions. Only speak gently to all women. Wear this t-shirt that I made for you. He goes. He follows the knights. He arrives to the doors of the castle of the King Arthur. And he receives, of course, the shame of the knights when he arrives and asks to become a knight. Then, suddenly, a maiden starts to laugh. And this is a sign that Percival can be a great warrior. There was a prophecy that says that when this maiden laughs, it's because a great warrior have arrived. So a few just take in consideration this prophecy and accept the offer of Percival to become a knight. So he asked them, "Okay, if you want to become a knight, there's going to be a feast, but you have to fight with our most accomplished knight that is the Red Knight. So he goes to fight with the Red Knight. Of course, the Red Knight has a sword, it's in full armor, and this poor boy only have a knife, a little knife. So by luck or by innocence, he has the power to beat the Red Knight. He fought with nothing but a little knife and wins. He took the Red Knight armor and also his horse. He was gifted afterwards with a mentor, and this mentor was part of his training. He was always there, and the name of the mentor was Garamond. And Garamond told him, don't seduce or be seduced by anything or anyone. And he took this very literal. So in this first part, we are going to see a few things important in this first part of the story. We have the first awakening when Percival see the knights. This is the first awakening of the male quest, of the male journey. Sometimes this energy appears and projects into other male figures that has some power or that appears that have some power. There is an idealized image. There's an idealized idea or what should the masculine be. And this is the idea that drives the masculine into the journey. The masculine should be this, the masculine should be that, should be power, should be strong, should be protector. All these qualities, Percival just project onto the knights and he goes after them. But he received the three things that the mother, the three instructions that the mother says. Don't ask any question, only speak gently to a woman and wear the t-shirt that I made. So remember that the name of the mother was Heart Sorrow. This could mean that this is also a feminine that is wounded. When the feminine is wounded, there are going to be conditions that it's always putting into the masculine. So the conditions are to do not ask questions, reserve yourself, reserve your curiosity, and don't go beyond your limits. The other is speak only gently with women. And the other one is wear the t-shirt that I made for you. These are like bounds for the masculine. If the masculine doesn't work and doesn't grow, they cannot develop the masculine self. They become like adult child. This adult child that is 30-year-old, but it's still hoping that mommy is going to do the laundry. These kind of things. So if the masculine doesn't go into the quest, doesn't get curious enough, doesn't have the passion to search for the feminine in a very even sexual way, because this is also part of the growth of the masculine. But in the story of Percival, these are the challenges that he has to face. And he wears the t-shirt that the mother made. And we can talk about, this is like an energetic cord that it's taking all the mother is there. It's always with, you can say, watching behind the scenes, everything that Percival is doing. So for the masculine psyche to grow and to fulfill all its qualities, it needs to let go of the mother. It needs to learn how to mother himself. And this is a very important part of the journey. That's why when he goes and defy the Red Knight, this is also a part of the courage that he needs. But besides the courage, there is a lot of innocence. This boy doesn't have any training as a warrior, but there he is, with only a knife, trying to defeat a great warrior with great potential. So he's practicing somehow, beginner's mind. He's practicing, and no mind. That is one of the practices that we are going to see in the East. This boy appears just with innocence. He has only this longing to become the knight, and is this innocence that is moving all his energy, all who he is. And this is one of the qualities of the masculine that shine through Percival. He is very innocent. He can be a fool sometimes, but this innocence is part of the qualities of the masculine that are so powerful. Alberto and Marcela, they always talk about that impossible task are given not to the one who knows, but the innocent, the one who doesn't know anything. When when there is a special thing to bring into the community, for example, when the shamans, they are going to pray for rain, and they know that it's going to be a hard time, they don't ask another shaman to do it, but they ask the innocent of the community, the one that no one's take for granted. So here they always ask these kind of people, the innocent people, you do the prayer and things will will pass. And the innocence is very important because innocence help us to see beyond the situation as they are. There are no limitations with innocence. There is only possibilities that this could be accomplished. So this is the first part of the Percival journey. He received this mentor, Garamond, and Garamond told him, don't seduce or be seduced by anyone or anything. And sometimes the masculine can be very literal. This is something that if the masculine doesn't grow a little bit more, it just see what it's in front. It's very literal. It doesn't learn to see underneath the things. So if you see when the mother do ask the three instructions or give Percival the three instructions, he takes it too literal. And also when Garamond asks him, don't seduce, don't be seduced by anything or anyone. So these are the things that we have to be mindful in the journey of our own masculine. As we grow, as we understand the energy of the masculine that goes in for the quest, that it's young, that is expansive, let's see when we are too literal, when we are stuck in this feminine that it could be wounded, but it's all the time trying to take us into the embrace. If there is a lot of comfort there, of course, we are going to remain there and never grow. And that's why the journey of the masculine, that we can be aware of these energies, are important. So let's continue to the second phase of the story. So he became a great warrior, and one day, going to the court of Arthur, he passed a wedding feast on a strange castle. Percival didn't know that this was his wedding feast. He was so focused in become a great warrior that he didn't realize that this was a wedding feast celebrated for him. And white flower, or yeah, Blanche Fleur, was the maiden, was the bride. He thought, of course, that she was beautiful, but he was very, he wasn't going, he wasn't be able to seduce this woman, because he remembered, of course, very literal, the words of Garamond. And he couldn't become a lover for her because he remains also under her mother and her mentor's spells or promises. These are some things, these are the things that the masculine energy in us should be aware of. Where are those spells, those promises that I made to my loved ones, my father, my mother? Where are those promises that I take too literally and I'm paying the price now? Of course, he drinks too much in the feast. He doesn't consume the marriage, and White Fleur just abandoned him. He returns to the court, feeling sad, feeling a void. So he invests all this time in becoming a great warrior. And he jumps from one adventure to another, just helping themselves in distress, killing dragons, etc., etc. And he becomes stuck in his role. So this is also a danger of the masculine. The masculine, it's very structural, and the masculine is sometimes linear in the way that it functions. And when it becomes too linear, it can get stuck in the things that it does. And the things that it does, they become pointless because he just, I'm a warrior, I kill dragons, I save damsels, and that's all that I do. So the masculine, it doesn't grow beyond this, it remains stagnant. He became a great warrior, and one day, in one of his adventures, he come across the Fisher King. The Fisher King is wounded in the groin. This king lives on the ground that is not fertile and need healing. On his castle, there was a feast. He dressed up for the feast, and the grail is presented to the crowd. And everybody in the crowd, as they encounter the grail, were doing this question: whom does the grail serve? But the only one, and the one that the people were waiting for, that was Percival, of course, he never asked the question because he was under the spell of the promise of the mother. So he remained silent. And because he was the new element entering in the masculine that it doesn't individuate, the Fisher King represents that, the masculine that it doesn't even individuate. And this was the new element that could bring restoration and healing, Percival. But he never asked the question. So this restoration is broken. In the journey of the masculine, we need to do the proper question. And the proper question is a question that has meaning, that has a purpose on it. If you don't have a purpose, you're just walking around in life without actually being guided. You are, like a leaf, and the wind is carrying you away with no purpose. The next morning, after this feast, everything is gone. The castle disappeared, and the only thing that remains is a sword. So Percival takes the sword, and he goes again into the court of the great King Arthur. And of course, before the reaches into the court, he goes rescuing maidens and doing heroic deeds. And one day, the King Arthur decides to do a feast for honoring all the knights. And there appears Percival, and all the knights were applauding him and praising him for all the good things that he had done. But there was one maiden, the hideous maiden, it's called in the story, that appears and starts to laugh. And she just goes in front of Percival and says, "You are not a good knight. You're not even a good man. You couldn't consume your marriage. You didn't ask the question when the grail was just in front of you. You have this rusty armor all on you. You have done a lot of things, but you gain nothing. You are just a fool. And this maiden, of course, torn egos, the ego of Percival apart. And this is one of the most important parts of the story, because sometimes the masculine needs the presence of the fearless feminine, or of the dark goddess. This is the encounter with the terrible energy of the feminine that could destroy things apart to make them anew. And this was part of the process of Percival. He needed this mirror that the hideous maiden was holding for him to see that actually he gained nothing. He only performed, but he was empty inside. He had no purpose. Being a knight, it just become just a role to be performed, but inside, who am I? What am I doing? So the hideous maiden hold this mirror for Percival to see, and he recognizes in the words of this hideous maiden the truth. It was all truth. So he goes into a quest, this time a more sincere quest. And he goes into meditation, he retreats, and a spiritual vision of the Grail appears before him. And he feels that he receives a calling from the Grail. So they go into the woods, traversing the unexplored accesses, and he find a few pilgrims, and those pilgrims recognize that he's using a very rusty armor. And they ask them, why are you wearing an armor in a holy day? And that's when Percival realizes, yes, it's true. And he takes off the armor. And this is also an important point for the masculine. The roles that constricts us. We already work in the North about the roles and how roles can be really become an armor that is rusty and it has no meaning anymore for us. So the masculine, when it doesn't grow enough, sometimes it's met by a hideous maiden. And the hideous maiden could be life itself. It doesn't have to be a feminine figure. Please don't take this too literal. Please just see it, from an eagle's perspective. Sometimes the hideous maiden can appear as life itself, like slapping on your face and saying, yeah, you are not who you think or you said you are. So wake up. And this is something that we are confronted to. Yeah, and maybe we have all experienced this. And that's why it's so important to just be aware of those milestones in the way of the masculine journey, because these milestones appear also in every person story. So be aware, if you have traversed these milestones, what has been the lesson behind it? If you ever perform, and you only do and play a role so many times that you get stagnant and you become frustrated about it, now take out that armor. You can embody, a sacred quest. You need to answer yourself, whom does the Grail serve? Because in the story is unfinished, and the story it's an invitation for us to ask the right question. The quest that is giving us purpose, the quest that is going to give us also insight, and it's going to go beyond our ordinary lives into an extraordinary uh, destiny. So this is part of the journey of the masculine. And now let me go with the journey of the feminine. We have this beautiful myth of Psyche. And in this myth, there are so many things that are important, but the most important things of the journey possibly are in the tests and trials that Psyche needs to face. So Psyche is this beautiful girl. She's so beautiful that everyone is revering her as a goddess. And of course, this doesn't like to Aphrodite. Aphrodite is just, no, this couldn't be possible. They are adoring this mortal girl, but I am the goddess of beauty and of love. So she asked Apollo, uh, because she knew that the parents of Psyche are going to go to the oracle and see whom does Psyche needs to marry. And the oracle says she needs to marry death, Morte, this horrible creature that lives in the edge of the city, in the ravines. So take her there with a black attire and leave there to live her own fate. So this was a big deal. The parents were so uh, heartbroken after this reply of the oracle, but it was the oracle. Everyone followed the instructions of the oracle. So they take Psyche to the highest point of this ravine and let her there waiting for Morte to come. But in the meantime, Aphrodite has told Eros, her son, when Morte arrives, just throw one of your arrows to Psyche so she can fall in love actually with this creature and have horrible monsters. And everyone, it's, just like mm, forget about Psyche. And now she's a witch that lives in the forest with Morte, and no one's it's ever going to have any affinity with her anymore. So Eros goes and he throws the arrow and pricks himself while doing that, and he falls in love with Psyche. So he calls the winds of the west, the wind of the west, Zephyros, and he asks Zephyros, take her to my castle, to my beautiful garden, and I'll be there at night, but save her. So the wind of the west comes and takes Psyche there. And there was a lot of things there that happened. Psyche was asked by Eros to never, never look at him in the bright light. He said, I will visit you only in night when it's dark, and you are never going to see me. I will give you everything that you want. Nothing is going to be impossible for me. You are going to have everything that you desire, but you cannot leave this place, and you cannot see me. And of course, this was the love, the god of love. So he was a very good lover, and Psyche was fulfilled. But she missed her sister. She misses home. And one day, the sisters of Psyche goes to the ravine and they start to shout and ask, Psyche, Psyche, are you okay? Please let us know that you are okay. And they shout into the canyon, into the ravine, and she hears the voices of her sisters. And at night, she asked Eros, I want to see my sisters. Please, it's the only thing that I really desire. So the sisters are brought by the wind of the west, by Eros. He understands and he brings the sisters in. And the sisters just made this amazing palace, beautiful. Everything is beautiful. There are a lot of flowers and fruits, everything. It's so precious. And then the sisters start to realize, well, yeah, you are living in a good place, but what if this man, it's a monster, is hideous? What if he has like two mouths or two heads, and it wants to eat you at the end of the night? And now it's good for now, but who knows how many time or how long it's going to last this. So Psyche gets very intrigued, and this is something that the feminine, in the feminine journey, could be, one of the trials, one of the things that makes us grow. The first thing is the marriage, to live an experience of that, something that is related with a great passage. We already know that weddings are rites of passage, but in the feminine, the feminine and women in particular, when the feminine is embodied in a women body, they bleed. Women bleed, and they have this like sensation of that very ingrained in their bodies. So they know when the childhood ends, because there is a very specific mark. So in the story of Psyche, this rite of passage, this wedding, the black attire and take it to Morte, it's a symbolic way to portray this. And of course, when the sisters arrive, it's part of the trail of the test that the gossips can have a very hook on our feminine self. Yeah, the things that we tell to ourselves and the thing that we tell about others can become a hook that can make us grow movies inside of our heads, and we are projecting them into the world. So this is the first thing that the feminine needs to be aware of and needs to pass through. So after the visit of the sisters, Psyche decides to actually see, who is this person? Who is this man that comes in the night and make love to me, but maybe he wants to eat me at the end of the day? So she takes a candle. Actually, it's more like a lamp. And she takes a knife, and she goes in the night when Eros is asleep. After they make love, she decides to wake up, take the knife, and she goes with the lamp. And when she goes near with the light, she realized that it's a beautiful, beautiful man, more beautiful than she ever thought of. So she drops the knife, and he wakes up, and he said, "You broke the promise. You promised me that you would never do that. And now I have to leave. I will leave you forever." And when he is leaving, she pricks herself with one of the arrows of Eros, and she falls madly in love with him. And she tries to look after him, but he is gone. And this is something that usually it's part of the initiation of our feminine self, love, love itself. We fall in love. So this is something that just happens to us, and there is so strong that sometimes we can move mountains for love. And this is part of the energy of the feminine. When we are in love, we just grow grow, and we want that person, and we do everything for being around him or her. So in the story, Psyche is devastated after Eros leaves, and she wanders around weeping and sobbing in every corner of the world, in every step that she does. And she's crying in the middle of the forest, and she cries and cries and cries. What am I going to do? How can I, be reunite with my lover, with Eros? And she was weeping, and in the middle of the weep, she hears the voice of Pan, the god of nature. And Pan asks her, "There's only one being that can help you in this situation, and that being is Aphrodite. So you need to go to her." And Psyche goes into Aphrodite. But this is a very important step. Every time that we talk about this story, people always have like these judgmental uh, things to say about Psyche. Oh, she's very weepy. She's so weak. She's only weeping. She's not a strong woman. But she represents this kind of surrendering, that the feminine is one of the qualities of the feminine. And she surrenders so much that she is able to hear nature, the god of nature, Pan. So this is an important part of the feminine. So she goes to the temple of Aphrodite, and of course Aphrodite says, "Okay, if you want to, I'm going to give you a task, but they are going to be really impossible tasks. So be prepared." And the first task is to select and to sort out seeds. There were many seeds put in a big barn, and Aphrodite tells Psyche, "Okay, you have uh, until midnight." I don't remember, the exact moments, but Aphrodite says to Psyche, "You have until midnight to sort it out all these seeds. You are going to put them in the right heaps, one here, one here, one here." So Psyche is devastated again. So what does she does? She just weeps. She just falls into the ground and weeps because she finds that it's an impossible task. Actually, it's impossible. They were so tiny. How can I be able to do this? This is impossible. And she cries and cries and cries. But then the ants came, and they talked to Psyche. One more time, nature is speaking. And the ants ask Psyche, they tell Psyche, "We can help you. We are going to do this for you. So don't worry." And there were millions of ants coming and sorting the seeds out for Psyche in the right way, just as Aphrodite wants. So at midnight comes Aphrodite, and she finds that all the heaps are there, the seeds are already put in order. And this is kind of the discernment. In this task, we can see that this is something that the feminine help us to achieve, or the journey of the feminine, it's going. When it grows, the feminine help us to discern, sort it out, like the seeds. When we help, when we learn to remain in a situation that is confused, and we need to gain clarity, this is something that we learn, to sort it out. We learn to trust in the ants, in those voices, in this intuition that help us to be discernment. This is something very important. Of course, Aphrodite, it's kind of mad with Psyche. and she decides to put another test into Psyche. So she asks him, she asks Psyche, go and find some golden fleece from these rams that are very violent. And one more time, she goes to the place. She saw from the distance the rams, and they are really violent. They are just, going head to head. And she said, this is impossible. I'm going to be destroyed. And what she does, she weeps. She cries and cries and cries, and she goes into the ground and she just cries and weeps until the reeds talk to her. One more time, nature talking to her. And they tell her, we are going to tell you how to take the golden fleece for the rams. You have to wait until they go into the cave to sleep. They always pass through the bushes, and many of the golden fleece, it's there. So she waits until it's night and the rams go into the cave. So she goes very slowly, very slightly, and she takes the golden fleece from the bushes. And that's how she performs the second task. And this is the way of, it's a way more of the cunning way, maybe. Yeah, it's a way of wisdom against this brutal force. How you can how you can enter into the game without being beaten and using only your intelligence. This is part of the feminine. The feminine grows this ability instead of going into a battle of, like, I'm going to beat you. The feminine just waits for the right moment to go and take what it needs without any brutal force in the way. So this is the second task. And there is the third task where she has to, well, Aphrodite appears one more time. Well, you can imagine that. And she has the golden fleece, Psyche has the golden fleece, and say to Aphrodite, yes, I did it. And Aphrodite is beyond her rage. So now she's going to give her something that is really, really impossible to do. And Aphrodite gives her a cup, a crystal cup, and she said, okay, now you're going to go to the river Styx and you're going to give me water from that river. And this is a river that it's running in a loop, actually. And it's impossible. There are dragons that are around the river, and there are guardians and keepers. And one more time, she goes there, she saws the river, she saws the dragons, and she starts to weep. Oh, this is impossible. I'm not going to make it. But from above, Zeus is watching all of this, and he sends the eagle and said, too much, Aphrodite, it's too much. And he sends the eagle, and the eagle goes, takes the cup of crystal, and he takes the water for Psyche. And of course, lands the cup of crystal in the hands of Psyche. What this represents, it represents acquired perspective. When you are in a problem and you are seeing the tree but not the forest, then you don't have this perspective, this eagle perspective. And this is one of the symbolic ways that this myth help us to realize. If you can acquire this perspective, this eagle perspective, you can see things not only, not only weep, but generate this great view. So this is something that the feminine help us to acquire also. And the last, of course, Aphrodite appears, and Psyche gives to her the cup. Aphrodite is already very, very furious. So she said, okay, I'm going to give you the last. the last task. You need to go to Hades, and you are going to ask for the beauty cream that Persephone has. So I want that. If you are able to do that, then you will be reunited with my son. And she goes to the place where it's supposed to be the entrance of the lower world, but it was very, very, very dreadful. Everything, it's just horrible. And there's a tower near this place. So she goes into the tower and she says, there's no way that I can enter this place. I'm going to jump right now and I'm going to kill myself. I cannot do this anymore. So the tower speaks to Psyche, and the tower says, "Do not jump. Just bring with you a few cakes. Bring also 2 coins, and you are going to give those coins to Caronte, which is the man that brings the souls of the dead into Hades." So she goes with the coins, with the bread, and the bread is for Cerberus, that is the three-headed dog. The first coin is for she to be transported into the realm of Hades. And when she goes there, she's also said by the tower, do not help anyone. It doesn't matter how bad they ask for help, do not help them. So she takes this as she goes, and she hears many voices, many cries. In every step, there was a child, a mother, a man, an old woman. All were asking for help. Please help me, please, please. But she remained stronger and centered, and she said, no, I cannot help you. I cannot help you. And this is something very important to develop. If the feminine doesn't develop this attitude of first I need to help myself, it's always, like trying to save others or to nurture others and not itself. So this is a very important part of the story and the lessons behind this story. And at last, Psyche goes into the realm of Persephone, and she asks her for the cream, and there's the curiosity. There's a lot of curiosity now that Psyche has the cream. And when she's going up, just, going out from the lower world, she opens the cream, and these creams exude kind of a mist, and Psyche fell down like dead-like. And well, this represents the curiosity and also a calling to be more than we are, and to become like a goddess. Like this cream of beauty, it's a representation of all the qualities of the feminine, all the qualities that are mature from the feminine. So these are the stories, both stories, and they portrayed part of our journey, the journey of the masculine and the feminine. And like I said before, these are like milestones. These are things that we need to recognize in our own stories. How do I become, or when do I become like Psyche in my life sometimes, like very surrendering myself? Do I learn this? This could be a quality that it's important in our lives. And when do I become a Percival? When I did too much that I forget about the important things and what was relevant for me. So just ponder and reflect about these stories and about the things that are underneath them. Try to find the symbols, try to find the important things that could help you to understand more about these journeys. Although there are another stories, these are kind of uh, very interesting for us to see where we are with these energies, how my masculine side is taking the challenges of daily life and where my feminine side resides right now. Am I too receptive, or am I weeping too much? Or am I already in the discernment? At the end of the day, Aphrodite, it's actually initiating Psyche. Aphrodite represents the full mature energy of the feminine that is helping this immature energy of Psyche to grow. So Alberto always says that the masculine gives the structure, but the feminine gives the content. So in our life, what are the structure that we are creating? But what is the content inside? You can ponder around this subject. You can ponder and do these questions to yourself, and let's see where it takes you. I hope that this video helps you to find yourself during the class tomorrow. Maybe you can just reflect with Martha and the rest of the team about what these stories bring up for you. And I hope that I was clear enough to share all these teachings with you. I send you a lot of love, and I hope that everyone is okay. And see you at my return. Blessings and goodbye.